Okay. Uh, we already saw there are two types of table spaces. One is locally managed tables. I mean, like there are two types of extend allocation methods which you can use while creating the table space. One is extend management local, and another is dictionary management. Extend management dictionary. Uh,
అంటే లాస్ట్ క్లాస్ ఇంకా కంప్లీట్ గా వినలేదండి నేను. ఐ మీన్ మేబీ టుడే ఆర్ టుమారో ఐ గో త్రూ దట్ అండ్ అదర్ దెన్ దట్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఇస్ ఫైన్.
Yeah, okay, okay. Just on the table space concept, make sure, I mean, like just try to remember. If the system table space is created with dictionary management, then only you can create rest of the table spaces with dictionary managed. But if the system table space is created with locally managed, then you cannot create any table space with the dictionary managed table space. And by default, the first file created in the database will be system data file, and that will go into system table space. This you'll know when you try to create the database manually. I'll show that by the end of the class. Just remember, the first file whichever you create, it will be a system data file, and by default the data file will go into system table space. Next, we will see the various options available in order to shut down the database. But before doing that, we will see how to check the undo usage and temp usage. As I said, db underscore free underscore space will be used to monitor the table space usage. But this view will not be applicable for temp and undo. The way they are managed is different. So for example, if you are creating, or for example you are selecting data from the table, select star from emp, order by ename. So this does sorting. So whenever the PGA is not sufficient, it will use a temporary table space. For example, 10 MB of temporary table space, 10 MB space from temporary table space is used. By the above command, by the above statement. In that case, once you retrieve the information from the table, once you get all the rows from the table in the sorted order, the space will not be cleared off. Still, it will be used. Oracle will clear off the space belonging to a non-existing transaction whenever there is no sufficient space available in the temporary table space. For example, if temporary table space is created with 1 GB of size, the 10 MB, even though the user retrieved the information, the 10 MB will not be cleared until the 1 GB of temp has been filled. If there is no free space available in the temporary table space, then only it will remove, or it will clear off the content of non-existing transactions or non-existing sessions. Okay, so that is the reason why you should not look at db underscore free underscore space, because even though this 10 MB will can be used, ఇప్పుడు 1 GB size fill అయిపోయింది అనుకోండి, that doesn't mean that temporary table space size has been exhausted. Oracle can clear off the space belonging to invalid transactions. So if you see in db underscore free underscore space, you may not get that there is 10 MB of free space left in temporary table space.
ఓకే.
So in order to get the usage of temporary table space, we'll be using v dollar sort underscore usage view. So for that, space will be used. So now to check the temporary table space usage, what I will do is like I'll create an index on one table and I'll show you how to check the temporary table space usage. Okay, now that my database is up and running, let me connect to Scott user. Okay. Okay. Here I have a table called as EMP. I'll create another table from EMP using the command create table EMP underscore temp as select star from EMP. Okay. Into the same table, I'll try to insert the same values. Okay. Now I have 52 5 lakhs 24,288 rows on EMP underscore temp table. Okay. I have around 5 lakhs of rows. I don't have any index created on this table yet. So I want to create an index on EMP number column. So do you guys have any idea how to create an index on EMP number column? I want to create an index on EMP underscore temp table and the column which I want to index will be EMP number. So can you give me the statement to create that index? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah. I want to create an index on EMP underscore temp table and the column on which I want to create an index is EMP number. So can you give me the command to create an index?
Create index దాని తర్వాత then you have to give the name, right? Name
Okay.
ఇచ్చేసి దాని తర్వాత
I'm giving the name as EMP underscore INDX. After
on
that on EMP underscore temp
column.
of column name. The column name will be EMP number. So if I'm creating an index, it will take some time. So before doing that, I'll open another terminal. I already told you if I want to get information about the sessions, we'll be querying v$session view. Did I told you about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So each and every session will be identified with a number. So that number is nothing but SID. It is also called as session ID. And for each and every session ID, there'll also be serial number, and both together will define a unique value. The reason for that is, for example, if I'm running a session right now, and if I exit from SQL Plus, my session will be terminated or my session will be closed. That means the SID will be used by some other session. But if I want to get some historical information, I cannot differentiate both the sessions because both the sessions will have the same ID. So in order to differentiate both the sessions, we will use SID and serial number. Both together will be unique always. All the time, both together will be unique. SID with serial number. From v$session where username equal to, just I want to search, I want to check for the session who connected to the database as Scott user. So I will query v$session with username as Scott. So this will give me the session details of Scott user. So this is the session ID and this is the serial number. And using SQL Plus utility, the Scott user has connected to the database. Okay. Now you can also add one more column to the same command. Program SQL_ID from v$session where username equal to Scott. Right now Scott user is not, he's not executing any statement yet, so you will not have any SQL ID. SQL ID will be null. Okay. Okay, it is giving the 7WAH, that means the select count of star from scott.emp_temp. So this is a statement it is giving. If you want to check the SQL text which is being executed by Scott user, we will query v$SQL area. v$SQL area will give us the exact SQL text from the SQL ID. So v$session will only give us the SQL ID. If you want to know what is the exact SQL which is being executed by Scott user, you need to query v$SQL area. Select SQL_full text from v$SQL area. SQL_full text is a column which is present in v$SQL area, and this will have the full SQL text which is being executed by Scott user, where SQL_ID equal to, this is the SQL ID. Okay, so see, this was the statement which was executed by the Scott user. So in this way you can capture the exact SQL which is being executed by a specific user. Now I want to execute this statement, create index. Okay, this will take some time, and if you see here, the SQL statement, the SQL ID will be changed. Okay, the SQL ID was changed. Earlier it was 7SWAH, but now the SQL ID is 9W59. Like in the same way, like for each and every session, Oracle will have a session ID. In a similar way, for each and every SQL query, Oracle will also assign a SQL ID to the SQL query. So that is nothing but the SQL ID. From the SQL ID, you can get the SQL text using v$SQL area. Now select SQL_full text from v$SQL area, where SQL_ID equal to, okay. If you see here, when I queried SQL_text from v$SQL area with for this SQL ID, nothing is returned. The reason is, whenever you are querying v$SQL area, it will get the SQLs which are present in shade pool. If you remember, the parsed SQL statements will be stored in shadepool. And which component of shadepool will hold the parsed SQL statement?
PGA persistent area.
No. Shadepool major components ఏంటి?
Shade. Oh,
Shadepool major component,
database,
library
database
cache,
yeah.
dictionary cache. Library cache is a component which will store the parsed SQL statements. And dictionary cache is a component which will store the address of the objects as well as whether a specific user has privilege to that object or not. Okay, so whenever we are querying VSQL area, it actually gets the information from shadepool, and it will only have the SQL IDs. I mean, like the select statements, sometimes insert also. In this case, if you see here, the create index command is not actually present in the shadepool. Whenever you're creating an index, it actually goes for a direct path read. So it will not go through the SGA. That is the reason why you'll not get the SQL text which was fired by the Scott user. Usual ga insert gaani, updates gaani, DML statement save ranena, you can get it from VSQL area, but not the create index statement.
Okay.
Okay. But our aim was to get the temp usage. So what I'll do is like I'll drop the index. Okay. The reason why I'm inserting is like I want the create index statement to take some more time so that I can show you the temporary usage, temporary table space usage. Okay, now I have some more bigger table than the earlier case. I'll create an index on EMP number column again, and it will take some time. Now, for getting to get the temporary table space usage, we need to query v$sort underscore usage view. So v$sort underscore usage, I'll describe it first. Okay. So these are the columns which are present in v$sort underscore usage. Username, SQL ID, and how many blocks it will be consuming. So what I will do, I'll use select username, SQL underscore ID, comma, blocks into 8192. The reason why I'm doing blocks into 8192 is one block will be 8 KB. 8 KB is nothing but 8192 bytes. So when I multiply blocks into 8192, I will get the number. That number will be in bytes. Okay. Now I will divide this one with 1024. This will give me the output in kilobytes by 1024. This will give me the output in megabytes. Okay. Right now, the Scott user is not using any temporary table space. Let me execute the create index statement. And if I execute the same statement again, you can see it is using 9 MB. It keep on increasing 24 MB, 33 MB, 40 MB, 46 MB, 47. So this is the way you need to check the temporary table space usage. This command you just checked it for only Scott user. If you want to check the whole temporary table space usage at the database level, we'll use the same command. Just we will do sum of blocks into the index is created, so that is the reason why it did a null. But in the real time, if you want to know the total temporary table space usage currently, you need to use this one. Select sum of blocks into 8192 divided 1024 twice from $sort usage. This will give you the total temporary usage at the database level. Okay. If you want to see a specific user is using how much of temporary table space, then you'll use this query.
Okay.
If you want to see how much temporary table space is being used by a specific session, in that case you need to combine $sort underscore usage with $session. That will give you the temporary table space used by a specific session. There's a difference. The user means for example, I can connect to the database as a Scott user with 5 or 10 connections. So that will give me the total temporary usage of Scott users, all the Scott users who logged into the database. If I want to know the temporary table space usage of specific session, in that case I have to join two tables. One is $session, the other one is $sort usage. Okay?
Okay.
And the common column, on the column on which you want to join the views will be, you need to join SADDR of $session. Let me show you the command. Yeah. So this is how you'll join $sort underscore usage with $session. So we will join with SADDR column of $session and session underscore ADDR column of sort underscore usage. These are the columns. Using those columns you need to join. Okay. $sort underscore usage. This one has session underscore ADDR. So you need to join this column with SADDR of $session. That will give you the temporary table space usage of a specific session. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Next, we will see how to check the undo table space usage. So you already know how to check the undo table space usage. I mean, like you already know for what an undo table space will be used. It is used to store read consistent data. To provide read consistent data. That means whenever you are updating rows, it will use undo table space to store consistent data. So in this case, select distinct ename from emp underscore temp. Okay, so if you see here, these are the employee names which are present in emp underscore temp table. These are the 15 names which are present in emp underscore temp. Now I want to know how many of Allens are present in the company, how many of Johns are present in the company, and how many of clerks. So I want to know how many of total employees are present with the name Allen, with the name John. So what is the command to get that?
select count star from EMP
Okay.
underscore temp
Okay.
where
Mm-hmm.
ename equal to Alan.
No, but that will give only for Alan, right? I want to know for all the employees.
Oh, no, I didn't get you actually.
ఇప్పుడు ఈ ఎంబీ అండర్స్కోర్ టెంప్ లో 15 ఎంప్లాయీస్ ఉన్నారు, అంటే టోటల్ గా చాలా ఎంప్లాయీస్ ఉన్నారు, కానీ డిఫరెంట్ డిస్టింక్ట్ నేమ్స్ ఉన్నాయి, 15 నేమ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. I want
Okay.
to know how many of Allens are present in the company, how many of Jones are present in the company, how many of Clarks are present in the company.
Okay, okay. Like select count star from EMP underscore temp.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Uh, group by ename.
Okay. This will give me the count. What you are saying is correct. But
Yeah.
I want to know the employee name also, right? Then only I
Okay.
can know if the count belongs to which employee.
Okay.
So in the select clause, I also need to add employee name.
Employee name. Yeah. Yeah.
So if you see here, the total Allens at present, it's around 1,31,000. Yeah, 1,31,072 employees are present with the name Allen. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I want to update these rows. I'll issue the command update emp underscore temp set ename equal to Mohan, where ename equal to Allen. So what this statement will do? How many rows will this statement will update?
1,31,000.
Yeah. So while doing an update, it will take some time. Probably it may take around 5 minutes of time. Think that
Okay.
it will take 5 minutes of time. So during that 5 minutes of time period, if the users are trying to select information from emp underscore temp table, what information they should get? They should get employees with the Alan name, or they should get with Mohan name.
With Alan name they will get.
Yeah, how they will get? Because it will store the information. Whenever you're updating the rows, it will store the consistent data into undo table space. So
Yeah.
that means it will store the information about Alan rows into undo table space. So whenever I issue this update command, it actually uses undo table space. Now, to get the undo table space usage, we will use the view $v transaction. UBA BLK. This is the column which will show you how many blocks is being used by that specific command, and there is no column with SQL ID here, and there is also no column with username. So that means I cannot use this view itself in order to get that undo usage. I need to combine this view to with $v session. Then only I'll get the actual usage of undo by a specific SQL statement. So to do that, we have to combine $v session with $v transaction. So select SID or s.sid u or t dot ubablk. This will be in blocks, so I'll multiply it with 8192 from $v transaction space t comma $v session space s, where s dot taddr equal to t dot addr. These are the columns which I have to join in order to get the undo usage. Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you see here right now, there is no undo usage because I'm not doing anything. Now, the moment I issue this command and I'll re-execute the statement, you can see the undo usage being used by the session ID. So these many blocks was used. So total these many blocks were used in order for this transaction. So the update command used this many blocks of undo table space to store the read consistent data. Now,
Okay.
sorry, that many bytes actually. So let me get the output in megabytes. That will be more readable. Okay. So total 37 MB of undo table space has been used to store the employee's information related to Alan. Okay?
వన్ డౌట్ అండి. ఇప్పుడు ఈ
Yeah.
100 టేబుల్ స్పేస్ లో లైక్ మోహన్ డేటా విల్ స్టోర్ రైట్?
No, 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 no. It will store
ఓకే.
Alan. Alan.
అలన్.
Yeah.
యా.
So this will be there until I issue the commit.
ఓకే. యా.
Because once I issue the commit, the read consistent data will be Mohan, not Alan.
యా.
So I'll issue the commit here, and I'll re-execute the statement, and you'll see nothing will be used by that session.
ఓకే.
So this is the way you need to keep track of undo usage. Is it clear?
యా.
Okay. Now select. If I want to know the total size allocated for undo table space, how can I check that? I want to know the total size allocated to undo table space. db underscore data underscore files will give you the total size of each and every table space except the temporary table space, correct?
యా.
I'm interested only with undo. So I will do percentile undo percentile. So it will search for the table spaces which has a substring of undo. Okay, I logged in as Scott user. So let me execute this statement as sys. Scott user will not have the permission for DBA data files.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just go by. So if you see here, I have two table spaces, undo TBS1 and undo TBS2. And there are two table spaces, but only one undo table space will be used. So if I want to know which undo table space is being used by the database, what is the command? If you examine the output, I have two undo table spaces. I want to know which of these among these two undo table spaces, which undo table space is being used. Show parameter undo. So undo underscore table space is a parameter which will show you the table space which is in use. So undo TBS1 is in use. So the before transaction, the update command, it actually used 37 MB of space from undo TBS1, but not from undo TBS2. Okay.
Okay.
So the only active undo table space is undo TBS1.
Okay.
Now, what is the total size allocated for undo TBS1? Let me get the output in megabytes. Yeah, it's 5, maybe 58 MB, I guess.
Yeah.
How much? It is 60 MB.
60 MB. Yeah.
But that may not be the total size allocated for the undo table space, because we can have a data file with auto extend feature, right?
Yeah.
So I may have created undo table space like undo tbs1 data file, uh, just file name, size 60 MB, space auto extend on, next 10M. డిస్టర్బెన్స్ వస్తుంది కదా, మ్యాక్స్ సైజ్ 2 GB. సో నేను ఇలా క్రియేట్ చేసి ఉండొచ్చు కదా. సో రైట్ నౌ ఇట్ ఈస్ షోయింగ్ ద size as 60 MB, but I want to know what is the actual size, because we also need to examine the auto extend feature. So if you have the auto extend turned on, I have to check the maximum size. So in that case, what we have to do is like in db underscore data underscore files itself, you have another column called as max underscore bytes. That will give you the maximum size for that table space if auto extend feature is turned on. Okay, so I will add that column also, max underscore bytes. mm, 1 minute, db underscore data underscore files. Okay, it's max bytes. Okay, max bytes is a column which will give you the maximum size of the data file. Okay, so in the group by clause also I need to add max bytes. Did I told you about define underscore editor?
No, Mohammed.
Okay,
No.
so if you see here, I have to modify the group by clause. I also need to add max bytes slash 1024 by 1024 in group by clause. The reason is I'm using two columns in the select clause among, I mean like with group function. So if I'm using two additional columns with group function, I have to specify those two columns in the group by clause. If you see here, only I specified only one column in the group by clause. I have to specify the other column too. So I have to modify the query. Now it is hard for me to use append or to use C option. So in that case, I can also use VI editor. If I want to use the VI editor, first I have to define or I have to set one of the environmental variable which is called define underscore editor. I have to set this define underscore editor to VI. After that, once we set the default editor to VI, we can use the command ed. Ed will open an editor and it will show you the command which is present in the buffer. So if you see here, this is the command which is present in the buffer, and the buffer name is afi-edt.buff. That's what I told you in the previous class. So whenever you write any command, that command will be stored in the buffer. The latest command which is being executed will be stored in a buffer, and that buffer name is nothing but afi-edt.buff. And whenever you use the command ed, that ed command will actually open the file called as afi-edt.buff. And now I have to modify the content. Now in this editor, I have to go to the end of the line. Altogether, this is one line. If you see here in this under the status bar, you can see there are two lines present in this file. The first line is a select command and the second line is a slash. Now I have to go to the end of the line. That means from select I have to go to the tablespace underscore name. So what is the command to go to the end of the line in the editor? Escape dollar will take you to the end of the line. Escape dollar. Okay.
Okay.
Now I have to put insert mode. That means I have to go into the insert mode. I have to do escape and then I. Okay. The status bar shows as insert. Now, comma. I have to add the max bytes column. Max bytes by 1024 by 1024. Okay. This will save the edited content into the buffer, and if you want to execute the content which is present in the buffer, you have to use slash. This will execute the content which is present in the buffer. Okay. So if you see here, the maximum bytes of undo TBS1 is 32 GB. The output is in megabytes. So let me change that. So I want to resize the maximum size of the data file. I want to make it as 80 MB. Okay. So to do that, the command will be alter database data file. I have to specify the data file name here. I don't know the data file name. I have to get the data file name. Which view will give me the data file name?
DB underscore data files.
Yeah, DB data file. This view itself will give you the file underscore name.
Yeah.
So there is another column called as file underscore name.
Underscore.
Okay, so if you see here, undo TBS1 has only one data file. In a similar way, undo TBS2 also have one data file. Now I want to change the maximum size of this data file. So alter database sorry, also need to add data file. Alter database data file. Auto extend on max size 90M. Auto extend on. Next 10M and max size should be 100M. Okay. I want to change the max size from 32 GB to 100M, and once it reaches the 60 MB, if it needs additional space in the undo table space, it will extend it by 10 MB 10 MB slots. So once it reaches 100 MB, that's it. That will be the maximum size. Now let me execute the same command which I executed before. Okay, so the maximum size now is 100 MB. Okay, now I will update emp underscore temp back to the original value. So I want to update ename to Alan wherever the ename is Mohan. Okay. How much of space this will consume? We already saw how much of space is consumed. Maximum size. It was 37 MB, right? It
32.
was
Yeah.
it was around 37 MB. Now I'll use the same command again. Nothing. I'll execute this command.